Hello everyone, welcome to my channel here at Moose Plaid Mountaineer. In this video we're going to explore some long-term legends and some hidden gems from some long decades past, okay, from the time of their release until the present day. Models such as the Victorinox Swiss Army Huntsman, the Victorinox Explorer, and the Victorinox Climber. And also putting in there some unique and modern releases like the Victorinox Pioneer X and the Victorinox Huntsman Light. Whether you're just simply a collector or an everyday carrier, or just someone who's curious about why these knives have been trusted and top selling for nearly half a century, in this video I'll make the best attempt that I can to give you the informational breakdown on what I think are very key important indicators to understand on why they are still selling the way that they are selling. So first and foremost, without further ado, we have the Victorinox Climber. The Victorinox Climber here, okay, was released in 1986 as an evolution from the Victorinox Swiss Army Spartan. Now, a Swiss Army Spartan, all it has essentially is the large blade, the small blade, and then of course on this side you have your can opener. I don't want to cut myself. There we go. You essentially have your can opener and bottle, your flathead screwdriver, wire strip, and bottle cap opener, okay? And in 1986 is where you actually got the extra function of the scissors and it became the Climber, okay? It was, Victorinox things behind this Climber, I think, was to offer a well-balanced 91mm knife that was just the right set of tools for hikers, travelers, and general everyday users. And it was while keeping a compact design and giving the most practicality in the most simple form, okay? And then, interestingly enough, right after the Climber, Victorinox later down the road built again upon the already engineered Climber by making the Pioneer X A-locks, which is interesting because the original Pioneer, which I don't have, interestingly enough, was just a knife blade, a can opener, about a knife blade, a large knife blade, which you see here, right, which is one of their very first ones, Pioneer, being like released in the 1880s, right? You had your large blade. You had essentially an awl, right? And then you had a flathead, your flathead essentially screwdriver, which didn't actually look like this. It was more the tool that you find. Let's see if I could find it actually on my, I believe I have it on my Swiss tool here. I believe I have that exact same tool. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, it is this one right here. Yep, it was very similar to this tool here that they had on their original, replica model of their Pioneer, right? Where they had to adjust and maintain their rifles in the Swiss Army, okay? So this is essentially the tool you get right on the Pioneer A-locks. These tools are actually about almost 50% thicker than what you'll get on a standard Victorinox knife. So if you pull out something like, say, we just talked about the Climber. So if you pull this guy out, right, and you put them side by side, you can see that the thickness of these, the robustness, is quite substantially more on the Pioneer A-locks, which is a very key alluring factor to why a lot of people enjoy the Pioneer A-locks models, so they can get a little bit more abuse out of it without having to threaten or compromise anything happening to the tool set on their Pioneer A-locks. Okay. Now this is called the Pioneer X because it has the scissors, which is right here. It's a little bit tricky because the Pioneer ALOX is also reversed to what a normal Swiss Army knife is, the nail nicks. Okay, good strong pair of scissors. My personal favorite on this knife that I like so very much is actually the reamer, right? Because it's an inline reamer and it just gives you that added control and function and effectiveness in a much controlled fashion than say what you'd get on something as the red Celador version where it has a back reamer. Okay, so I think this is very advantageous for this style of knife, and it was very much a market going off the shelves item when it was released back in 2016. Okay, so this was, I love the fact that it does it the best it can to preserve a strength factor, right, with the robustness. That's one of my biggest what do you call it? I'm having a brain spasm, sorry. That's one of the biggest advantages to having an ALOX model is it's just a lot more robust. Okay. Then after the ALOX here, we have the Victorinox Swiss Army Explorer, which we have right here. And I actually have two here. So here's the one that I generally carry. Here's the other one that I carry. This is my personal one that I carry every once in a while. Love this ruby red look, and it's my personal one because I've made it plus scales. So I actually have a couple. I love this. One of my main models of Swiss Army knife that I love the most is actually the Swiss Army Explorer. I actually have 4 models. They're the exact same, they're just different colors. So I have 2 that are red, and I actually have 2 that are blue, okay? As so discovered when I was going through my arsenal, which is just fine, because that's probably gonna be, this might be the knife I give my boys when they get of age, around 12 years old, and I start teaching them a little bit on how to use, kind of be thrifty and every day with the Swiss Army knife. But what's really particular about this knife is that this was at the time a very leading marketing knife when it was released back in 1973. Okay, it was one of the first 91 millimeter Swiss Army knives to include the magnifying glass. Okay, which in and of itself made it a top seller because it was one of those designed as a more feature-rich alternative to the Climber, right, which you have right here, okay? And it was meant to be a bridge between the Climber and, say, the Huntsman, which is over here, okay? And this Explorer has honestly remained literally on the top selling list because of its very unique and practically perfect bridging capabilities between urban and outdoor use, and having the ability to straddle both of those sides in any one of those scenarios. Okay, so what you have here for the tool set, what makes this is you have your inline Phillips. Okay, for starters. Okay, you have we talked about the magnifying glass. This one also has your pair of scissors here, okay? Has a pair of scissors. And then you have your standard big blade and small blades here, right? Big blades and small blades. And then you have your can opener and bottle cap openers, right? As your standard tools. Now again, this one's my personal one, so it comes with plus scales. It was a little over a year ago. I sent this one out over to Monroe, Connecticut, which is our closest Victorinox facility, and I just paid $12, and I sent it in there under warranty because I think my original glass was cracked. Not the glass, the lens was cracked a little bit, and so I sent it in for warranty, and I paid the extra money to have them put the plus scales on it. When I got it back, it was just like, ooh. It's very, very beautiful and pretty. I absolutely love this thing. Okay, so that is the Victorinox Explorer. Now we're going to go to one of Victorinox's original cutting edge releases, which is the Victorinox Huntsman. Okay, so the Victorinox Huntsman is essentially the evolution of the classic Climber, which you see here. Okay, the only difference is that it's an added layer because you have sawing and wood cutting capability when they added in the saw with the addition of the wood saw, making it more outdoors oriented. Since its release, the Huntsman has become one of Victorinox's most enduring and best-selling 91mm knives. Okay, so it has everything that you have on the Climber to the T, with the addition of the wood saw. Now this one, I believe, okay, this one's not. So this one's just my standard Huntsman with my specially made scales on it. Okay. So then after the Huntsman, you have a very unique and cutting edge one. The very last one here is you have the Huntsman Light. It's the modern evolution of the Swiss Army Huntsman. So essentially what happened with the Huntsman Light here is Victorinox engineered the Huntsman Light to combine the trusted universal tool set of the classic Huntsman with an added modern utility, you know, the light, the flashlight, notably an LED light and a ballpoint pen, which is what you'll see here, right there. Okay, for outdoor and traveler enthusiasts. Okay, and the reason why they did this is because they noticed that people enjoyed specific functionality cues that you get from, interestingly enough, the Victorinox Swiss Army Explorer, as well as your standard Huntsman. And so what they decided to do in, what was it, 2012, 2014, I think, between those 2 years, they came out with a model that was a touch of both. So you have your inline Phillips. What distinguishes this as reminiscent of the Explorers, you have your inline Phillips, okay? But then you also have your saw blade, okay? Cutting wood capabilities, with the added function of plus scales having a ballpoint pin, a spare pin here in the back, okay, right here. All right, with a micro screwdriver. Okay, so these are the models. If I could fan them out just right. Okay, these are the particular models that Victorinox over the last 42 years have essentially based and engineered a lot of their petitioned tool set cues that they have gotten over decades from individuals who have, to put it simple, purchased dozens and dozens of these knives. Okay, since 73 until the present day, so that's 52 years almost. Okay, and every single one of these knives are a variation or evolution of one another. So that's one big happy Victorinox family here of successful innovation, trusted tool sets, and durability, and high quality and precision. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will put all the information in the comment section. If there's any one of these knives that you feel that would be great to add to your arsenal and to be able to carry on a daily basis, please check them out. Get one. You will not be disappointed. And share with me in the comment section the way that you use one of these knives, if by chance you already have one. My name is Seth from Moose Platte Mountain. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.